He was an absent guest last week, still knee-deep in DVDs of would-be heavyweight opponents for Tyson Fury, no doubt. Anyway, Mick Hennessy has found an opponent for Saturday the 17th at the fabulous and dripping with atmosphere King's Hall. If you've never been to boxing at the King's Hall, it really is one of the world's greatest venues out there in Belfast. Fury of Clan Fury will actually have a fight, and it is a bit of a tough one, to be honest with you. The fight will be live on free-to-air TV channel 5, which is fantastic. Anyway, I'm delighted to say that Mick is here this week. Good evening, Mick.
Evening, Steve.
Were you at your wit's end last week, mate?
I was, to be honest.
I could tell. Oh, you know what? You get 3 million viewers for Chisora against Fury. You get the love of everybody. You get what looks like a great opponent in Martin Rogan because he's a big Irishman and they love him over there. And then for a variety of reasons it doesn't happen, you can't get anyone, then they start asking you for a lot of money. That a fair assessment of it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the same old story, really.
Yep.
Most fighters, top heavyweights will talk a great game, but when it's put in front of them, and it's a reality, it's a completely different story, I mean, Tyson's a heavyweight who everyone seems to have an opinion on, and heavyweights tend to try and badmouth him. But when when it's put in front of them, they look for the exit signs.
You know what? I'm not going to dwell too much on who didn't get in the ring. Let's look at this guy Firtha, because you could have chosen easier ones, Mick. To be honest with you, he's a bit of a lump. Plus, he's got that thing on his record. Just less than a year ago, 8 or 9 months ago, he did go the distance with Alexander Povetkin, who last weekend or the weekend before won the world title. So he's resilient to a degree, but it must have been hard for you to find, not just to find him, but to balance everything together, Mike. The risk, the fact that he's still relatively unknown. It must have been a really difficult period for you.
Yeah, it was, Steve. I mean, one of the things we wanted to do, Tyson in his young career has won English, British and Commonwealth titles. Yep. He would love to have got the Irish title.
Of course.
And basically, defended British Commonwealth and won the Irish title against Martin Rogan. And that, I don't think that's ever been done before.
No,
so that was something we pushed so hard for, and we offered an absolute fortune in the end.
Okay.
The Irish title, European title, and then genuine world titles, that's what we're going after. Yeah. And, it never happened. I mean, there was no stone unturned, really. So, we need to bring someone in. We need to bring someone in who's going to prepare Tyson for top elite world level. And the thing about it is, you've got to get it right with him. He's 6'9". If you bring in a fighter sometimes who's 6 foot, although they're decent sized heavyweights, good sized heavyweights, sometimes it just don't look right.
And if he does him in about 4 rounds, it looks even worse. You're absolutely right. It's a real big balancing trick, Mick. I agree with you.
It's hard for him to. It's hard for him to. Other heavyweights, smaller heavyweights, will get away with things that he can't.
Of course.
And in Nikolai Firtha, he's 6'6". He's a big man himself. Since January 2010, he's been on a good run. I think he's got his act together. He's had good wins over people like Tony Grano. As you say, Povetkin, a former Olympic gold medalist and now WBA champ. I watched that fight. He gave him a decent fight.
Yeah, he was in there. No, listen, he absolutely was. The point is with this, is that the point I was sort of making at the top there, is that Tyson's on a great run, not just inside the ring, Mick, but outside the ring. And with those figures, 3 million on Channel 5, let's get it right, that scared the life out of everybody in TV, didn't it?
It did,
It scared the life out of them. It rocked them to their socks. No, it did, didn't it? To nick a phrase from Carl Froch, it did. It rocked them to their socks.
It absolutely did. And the last figure I got was 3.1. But I think, because the figures, the way it works, Steve, they keep coming in later and later.
Yeah, especially when they're big. They keep coming in.
They keep coming in, yeah. And then I'll see another thing that was out on Channel 5 somewhere. Something said 3.8. But it's, the figures were incredible. And, one thing about it is that I noticed, because I talk to people all around the world, and, this kid's right now, for me, I know I'm obviously biased, but he's got to be top 3 most talked about fighter in the world.
No, listen, he is one of those guys, and that sort of leads to the sort of final point, is that's why, especially with that audience on Channel 5, which is not necessarily a boxing audience, although we will keep them, It's that that's why there was even more pressure on you to get someone in. He looked okay, even if he fell out, even if he gets knocked over in 4 or 5 rounds. He's got to look okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Firtha has said himself, you know, he's coming here to have a shootout, basically. And this is someone who fancies it. This is someone who's been asking for the job for a while now.
Yeah.
And it's great because, you know, if Tyson does what I believe he can, because I believe he's a unique heavyweight and someone who's going to unify the heavyweight title. If he does what I believe he can in this fight, I think he's going to look sensational, because right now everything's coming together. His weight's right. He's training. He's just been on an absolute roll. He's getting better and better with it each fight. And I can't remember ever seeing a fighter improve so much with each fight as Tyson Fury.
Yeah, no, listen, especially last couple. He's, as you say, he's got the flavour. He's dropping that weight. He's determined to push the weight behind, and he's absolutely cracking on. Listen, Mick, absolutely fantastic. Thanks for your time tonight, and good luck next week. I hope you have a massive house over there, and I hope he has another fight. And I'll get out to that one because I can't do next week. I'm all Floyd Mayweather up, as they say in the trade.
Well, we're doing another one in November, Steve, and touch wood, no injuries and everything goes well. We're looking at Madison Square Garden, St Patrick's Week for Tyson Fury, so that will be a hell of an event.
Stroll on, as they say in the trade. Give my best to him, and I hope it all works out next week, because with 3 million plus people watching, we're under scrutiny, as they say, and I mean that, and you know what I mean by that.
I do, yeah.
We've got to deliver.
Yes, Steve.
Listen, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy yourself in Belfast, Mick. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Mick Hennessy there, who I'm pleased he admitted that he was pulling his hair out, and he absolutely was. I was getting really worried about that show. I was, because there's a lot of pressure.